Listen, y'all. She trying to figure out if her man cheated on her with her best friend. Now, I done watched this video about 2 times, twice, and I finally got the part 2 to it, so I can add that as well to it just to give y'all a little bit more context of what she is talking about. But yeah, just think about that. Watch this video and ask yourself, is her man cheating or is she just tripping? You know, sometimes women, y'all be tripping, man. Y'all be tripping. It be nothing sometimes. But I don't know. Her story kind of sounds very convincing, but I'm going to let you guys, come to the conclusion. Check this out.
Story time on when I was trying to figure out if my best friend and my boyfriend was fucking with each other. So at one point, both of them lived with me. I stay in Atlanta. My best friend at the time stayed in a different state. She told me that she was trying to move up here and find her a career and all that stuff. I said, cool. My only requirement was that she had a job before she moved, because she asked if she could come stay with me for a little bit. Now, mind you, she also had 2 kids. I was cool with that. Now, when a week later, she told me that she secured a job and that she was on her way that weekend. Cool. When she got with me, everything was good in the beginning until like my bills started getting higher and stuff like that. And I noticed little stuff like around the house that I didn't appreciate. Like, okay, we clearly don't live the same, and that's okay. So the first few months she stayed with me, I was telling her, like, I don't mind. I don't want no money from you or anything like that. But, like, if you notice I'm getting low around the house or anything, like, help with a little bit. Like, okay, if you we need tissue, just get tissue or something like that. So at the time, I didn't have a washer and dryer in my house. So we'd be going to the laundromat every week. And whenever I did laundry, I washed me and my kids' clothes and her kids' clothes. But when it came down to her doing laundry, she only would wash her and her kids' clothes. So naturally, I did kind of feel some type of way about that. In addition to that, when she would be using my blankets, towels, and stuff like that, but she would always leave that separately and only wash her clothes. So I felt some type of way. Now, I did have a little talk with her about it and things like that. She was having trouble finding a place to stay, so she ended up staying with me longer than she anticipated. In addition to that, she didn't really have a job. Like, she had one of them jobs where you go door to door selling stuff. Like, come on now, let's be realistic. We know that's not really a job. So I was kind of upset about that, but she ended up finding a work from home job and she was working from home. And one of her kids was staying home with her because she was still working on trying to get them in school. Okay, fast forward, I was feeling a bit overwhelmed with so many people being in the house with me at that point in time, but I would never want to make her feel uncomfortable or anything like that. So I did have a boyfriend at this time. He had his own house. He lived like legit like around the corner from me type shit. I ended up being involved in a house fire with him and his house burned down. So he asked me if he could stay with me too. And I'm always a giving person, so I said yes. Now, everybody around me, my other best friend, my cousins, everybody was like, that's not a good idea. You shouldn't move your boyfriend and your best friend in that same house. Somebody can't stay or whatever. And I was like, I'm not going to do that to me because these 2 people that I care about and shit like that. So naive me, I did let both of them stay with me. My boyfriend was home most of the days. She also works from home. I worked hybrid. So some days I was not there. Now, my boyfriend started telling me stuff like, oh, while you gone, she can't handle them kids. The house always loud. She really just be outside smoking all the time. She don't really be handling them kids and stuff. And I was like, just stall her out because I knew that she was going through certain shit or whatever. Now, mind you, when both of these people, all these extra people living with me, I had to pick up a second job. So I started working at the club at night. And I also used to go back home to Chicago a lot and stuff like that to, transport my son or anything. So I was talking to my cousin in Chicago and he was like, "Where your boyfriend and your best friend?" I said, "Oh, they at the house." And he was like, "You in Chicago and you love both of them?" And I was like, I trust both of them. Well, I'm trying to, that they wouldn't do no shit like that to me. Again, naive me. And my cousin kept saying it like, "You green as hell." And I'm like, I don't think I'm green because I'm really trying to put faith in him and shit like that. But shit, he was right. So it was little other stuff going on in the house. Like, okay, I felt like it was getting so bad to where I'm like, damn, I don't feel like we're going to be friends any longer if I still allow her to stay with me. So I did a hard decision. I had a conversation with her. I told her, unfortunately, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I was like, to preserve our friendship, I really think that we need to live separately and stuff like that. By this time, I think we had like 5 months or something like that. Now, I think around month 3 or so, I did tell her like, okay, you got to start helping me because the bills is getting higher. So I did tell her to pay me $400 a month. Now, sometimes she was late on that $400, but I wasn't really tripping because I didn't really need the money. I could pay my rent and all that shit by myself. It was really like the principal. So my boyfriend moved out also. He ended up going to stay at an Airbnb that was still close by through his insurance. Now I did still spend a lot of time with him and things like that because she would say, "Oh, just go ahead, I got them," or whatever like that. And she also wanted to sleep in my bed. So she was like, "If you spend the night over there, I can sleep in your bed." And I was cool with that. My only rule was like, please don't sleep and have your children sleeping in my bed because they wasn't fully potty trained at the time and stuff like that. I was like, or just put them on a pull up. But she never really listened to me, and I feel like it was a lot of disrespect to me in my house. So, okay, I gave her like, 60 days. I said, it's a 60-day notice, enough time for you to find however you want to go about it. But I feel like certain aspects you're taking advantage of, so I'm going to have to ask you to leave my house. So she ended up moving out, and she treated me like I was the ops. Like, she left while I was at work and shit. I just seen her on my camera taking shit and like took my blankets and stuff like that. But again, she was my best friend, so I'm not really tripping on that. I'm thinking like we'll get back good and everything. Now, mind you, in the midst of this, my best friend also, at the time she was doing hair or trying to start out doing hair, my boyfriend had locks, and I was like, well, he could be your first client. So I'm convincing him, like, let her do your hair and stuff like that, so everybody can, get acquainted and that she can have some source of income. So she started doing his hair and shit like that. Now, because she was new, it was like with locks and stuff, sometimes you cut and everything like that. She was learning from YouTube. I guess she messed up a few things, but again, she was learning. And I kept reminding him of that, but he was pissed off. Like, I don't want her doing my hair and shit like that. And he was telling me, you need to pay for somebody else to do my hair because it's your fault. So I did agree to that, but I was like, give her a chance to try to fix it and stuff like that. I never told her any of this. But when me and him ended up breaking up, all right, so when we broke up, he started harassing me, like dead ass harassing me, blowing my phone up from different text apps and stuff like that. But it ended up coming out that he was like, that's why I fucked your best friend. I'm gonna fuck her again. She gonna keep doing my hair and all this shit, and I'm finna boss her up so she could be bossed up. It was a whole bunch of bullshit like that. So now me and her haven't talked in like a few weeks. But we still friends on social media and stuff like that. I'm like, just give her time. She in her feelings. And this is not the first time I've had somebody stay with me. So I know, like, when you like place boundaries, a lot of people feel some type of way about that. So that shit was hard. So I'm like, okay, just give her time. But when he said like she finna come to my house right now and stuff like that, I'm curious to know. So when I see on her page that she posted that she did his hair. No, she didn't post it. He sent it to me like she did my hair and stuff. Okay, I'm calling you. Because I'm like, damn, you supposed to be my best friend. Like, if I cut this man off, I'm kind of feeling like you should do the same. Real shit. I am. Because you met him through me, and then at this point, he's harassing me and shit like that. So she ended up coming to me and talking about he's my client, and I'm not doing any of that, and like we ops and shit. So I told the truth, like, I did to her. I was like, he's only doing this because he's trying to get back at me. He pissed off at me and stuff like that. And he told me, like, yeah, I'm finna purposely do this with your best friend. And I'm like, and he's saying that y'all fuck with each other. So she never denied the claims that she fucked him. So now I'm thinking like, damn, you the ops or something? Like, what you want? And she said that I was basically like just jealous or some shit like that. And that shit threw me. So okay, at this point, I'm really not fucking with either one of them and shit like that. But most shit started coming out. He kept sending me messages like he fucking with her. And then my other best friend, like on TikTok, when she was posting the videos, she was putting certain captions when she posted him doing his hair saying, wouldn't want to be anywhere else, with the little heart emoji, the little, I'll put the emojis on here so y'all can see the emojis I'm referring to. But that's the shit that she did. And my other best friend was like, I ain't want to tell you because I'm like, you was already going through a lot, and I felt like that was fucked up. But she said I felt like that was wrong. And I'm like, hell no, whatever's going on, I need to know. Tell me. So I know I posted this previous video, everybody talking about, oh, well, he deserved better and stuff. No, he doesn't. Because if you watch my last video, you'll know more in detail about some certain shit that went on. But more of the story, he had been cheating, and I guess he was cheating with her also. And I really just need to stop being. Okay, I said I was going to stop the video, but I'm going to just add this small little part. So I used to tell her when I was coming home, before they both had moved out. Well, he had moved out, but she was still living with me. And I said, hey, I'm coming home, so don't sleep in my bed tonight. When I got there 1 a.m, she was still sleeping in my bed with her daughter or whatever. Now, the problem came in. I was like, girl, I told you I was coming home. It was nothing. I woke her up, and she lifted the covers and was like, oh, y'all could just get in with me. Mind you, my man is standing right there. So I'm like, what you on, bro? And I didn't say anything there, but I did tell my other best friend the next day. And I was like, damn, am I tripping? Because it's giving you want to fuck my man or something. I was like, that shit threw me off. So when I talked to my best friend about it, she said, you ain't wrong. I would have reacted the same way. So I ended up having a conversation with her, and she brushed it, was like, oh, my bad, bro. And that's all she said, but she kept doing little shit after that. So that's what kind of gave me the indication, like, it's some little shit going on that I don't know about.
Now listen, I already know what y'all thinking. After hearing that first part, it still was a lot of answers that needed to be answered. So I waited and I waited for her to come out with the part two. And finally, she did come out with that part two, giving us more details. So check this out.
Okay, I'm gonna use your comment to answer some of the questions that people had in the comments. Somebody asked, why did I charge her rent and not him, and she had kids? So I mentioned in the first video that she was living with me for a few months. I think she moved out at like 7 or 8 months. So those first few months, she did not pay rent. And I also mentioned that he was in a house fire. So I was trying to be considerate of both of them. The first few months, I did not charge them. He was only staying there for 3 months. Now, sometimes he did, like, okay, if I said I really ain't got enough for groceries this week, he'll like cash at me 100 or something like that. But every time, like I mentioned, like I need help with bills and stuff, he just kept saying like, bruh, like you inconsiderate, you know, I just had a fire and all this stuff and I'm trying to get my life back together, and he lost everything. So I did understand that. So I was trying to be very understanding and accommodating to everybody. Now, my best friend, she previously used to like working like the club life a little bit, like party promoting and shit. So I told her like that's good money and that's quick money in Atlanta, like go back to doing that. Now she kept telling me she was trying to change her life, she wasn't going back to them and stuff. So that's why I went and started working in the club at night. However, I do agree, I feel like both of them should have been doing more and they was taking advantage. While we were staying together, she ended up going on social media a lot, specifically on Facebook, making little statuses and shit saying how she ain't have no real friends and all that. Now, me and my other best friend, we both was best friends with her. My other best friend, they didn't stay with me. And we basically tried to have like an intervention with her because we knew like she wasn't really acting like herself. But it's like, it's only so much shit you can do for a motherfucker until, because if they don't want to do it for themselves, they're not going to do it. And when we had the little intervention with her, she talked to us and stuff. And I'm not going to go into details because that is personal stuff that was going on. But after that, she really started acting like we was her enemies and shit. So she ended up, I guess she got mad at my other best friend too. And it became like 2 against 1. Like it was me and my best friend because my best friend was on my side. And although she was best friends with her too, she kept telling her like, nah, you wrong for certain shit you doing and all this. So it turned into this big ass shit on social media too. As far as him, he didn't technically have a job. He did a little street shit. That's all I'm gonna say on that. So yes, he was not actually going to a job every day. All of that stuff was a red flag. I will agree with y'all on all of that. So another big important thing was when she moved up here, she was previously supposedly in like a abusive relationship, and I actually was in an abusive relationship before, so I'm very sensitive to stuff like that. Now the problem was when she actually told us the story, it really wasn't like it was a domestic violence situation, but I think she was more so hurt that her and her baby daddy had broke up. So more stuff had came out to where I was like, what's the problem with you finding a place to stay? And she was like, well, I really can't afford to stay on my own. So that was an even bigger issue. She was trying to push me to become roommates with her, but I had to stand my ground. I'm like, unfortunately, I was like, you're not the first person to become a single mother out here. And I was like, you got to make that shit happen regardless. And I was like, I don't think it's a good fit for me and us to become roommates. So at the 60-day mark, she really didn't move out. She ended up coming to tell me like, I still don't have a place to stay, but I have applied for the second chance apartment. And, you know, they approved me, but it's not going to be for a few more weeks. So she did stay for a few more weeks. I told her she could. During this time, we wasn't talking at all, though. Like, when I walk in the house, hey, keep it going. We're not really talking. We're not really acting like best friends no more. That's how I kind of knew like the friendship was definitely not really there no more. And I was like, but I thought that once she moved out, she got in her place, she was good. Like, we'll be back good. Like, you know, this just a bump in the road. Mind you, this was not no random girl. Me and this girl being best friends for over a decade. Me, her, and my other best friend. Mind you, my other best friend lived out here too. She asked me to stay with her, but she knew that my other best friend wouldn't. Like, me and my other best friend is like one and the same person, but she like the meaner version of me. So she knew off tops not to ask her because the answer was gonna be no. And I think people take advantage of that from me because I'm always way more giving to people. And I really think that's kind of like the social worker in me. Like, I'm very empathetic to people's situations. And I do feel like both of them was equally gaslighting me, because anytime I stressed like how I was struggling or anything was going on, he was like, man, your best friend here with her 2 kids and stuff like that, she need to help you more, like stuff like that. And she was saying the same thing about him. So it's like they was pitting against each other. And I know a few people asked like, was this fake? It's not fake. And I know y'all saying that y'all see I'm an author. It's not. And I tried to do a green screen to show y'all screenshots of when he would text me from all these different text apps last year, saying that he fucked my best friend, all this. But I don't know how to do this green screen. So if you know how, let me know how, and I'll put it up. So to this day, I haven't seen her since then. Like, she moved away. She really stopped talking to us and shit like that. I know she still stay in Atlanta though. And them two still talk, because every time he did try to get back with me multiple times, but once I went having that shit, he started telling me like, that's why your best friend bossed up on you, and I'm still gonna support her, and I'm still finna fuck with her. It was just a lot of back and forth. So he would always tell me that they still fucking with each other. Also, with the domestic violence thing, she used me until she got the apartment. She got an apartment, like I think like 15 minutes from me or something. And literally as soon as she moved out, I think 3 weeks into her staying in that apartment, her baby daddy moved out of state and was living here with her. Now, what she didn't tell was that she was running his name through the dirt all on TikTok. She actually deleted all of the videos where she was saying how she was in an abusive relationship. And I felt some type of way about that too, because I'm like, you using domestic violence to your likeness when you know you wasn't really in an abusive relationship. Relationship had ended. It was some court stuff involved, but it was more so her mother kind of being the aggressor to them. It was a whole lot. But it wasn't what she was trying to make it seem. And then I was like, everybody looking at you crazy because somebody that you saying that was truly abusing you right back with them. Now, I do feel like her saying that she couldn't afford to live on her own played a role. So she's likely using him to be able to sustain her living, and they do share kids together. But again, that's her business. It was more so how she treated me. And on social media, everybody kept hitting me up, like saying they know this weird stuff like that shit be saying. They was like, then she used to live with you. And I'm like, yeah, but I never really wanted to speak on it. The only reason I really came to social media now is because she's trying to make me look like the bad guy. And she keep making posts like sneak dissing us and shit like that. Ain't nobody did nothing to her. Now, I will admit that when I was working these 2 jobs, she was watching my kids a lot too for me to go to work. So I would never take that from her. But that other shit, nah. Oh, and another thing was, right before she moved with me, she was staying with her parents, but she kept complaining to us saying that they was using her, just trying to use her for her money and to pay their bills and stuff, and she wasn't able to focus on her career and all that stuff with them because they was overbearing. And she my best friend, so I'm not thinking she lying. So I'm like, cool, like, and she's saying she wants to move up there with us because me and my other best friend had already stayed here, and she was the only one back in the other state. So now I feel like I'm pretty sure she probably telling them the same shit about us, like, or about me, saying that I was just using her for her money. It was never that. Never that. And about somebody mentioned something about her paying the 400 like I was struggling. No. So I don't think y'all realize when somebody stay with you, your bills increase. So it's me and my 3 kids, 4 of us. Now we gone throughout the day because I'm at work, my kids at school. I'm gone from damn near right before 7, and I'm usually not home till about 7, 8 at night. That means that my utility bills, they pretty low because ain't nobody using them all day. It's totally different. My light bill done skyrocketed. The amount of money I need to set aside for the month for groceries has tripled because it's 4 other people living in my house. 2 of them grown ass adults.
Now that you heard the full story, guys, is she tripping or is she on to something? If you want to follow for more updates, go ahead and check her out on the Talk app. She posts this daily, so yeah, go check her out. Until next time, guys, don't forget to follow my page for more content. Peace.